Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sketchbook Tour. Today I thought I'd go and show you inside this sketchbook that I have been working on for forever and do a kind of a mid-year sketchbook update type of thing. I started this sketchbook back in June when it was very, very hot. It is now January. It is freezing cold outside. So I feel like I need to give an update on this sketchbook or else I'm never gonna actually properly finish it because I'm working on it so very, very slow. Which is nothing wrong with it, but I also feel myself losing creative steam when it comes to taking on this little project, so I need to find a way to kind of keep myself accountable, and this video is going to be just that. So hopefully by June or like July of this year, I'll have the second part of this sketchbook tour up. But with that being said, I think I'll give you guys a little bit of background information on this sketchbook right here. This is a moleskin sketchbook. And it's not just a regular moleskin sketchbook, okay? It is a cool one. And I say that because it is actually like an expandable sketchbook. So the pages are so long. And this is my first time working in a sketchbook like this. And honestly, I am enjoying it much more than I expected. I was a little bit intimidated by it at first. But when I actually started using it, I just ended up having a lot of fun. Just kind of, I guess, testing out different layouts and compositions that I couldn't really do before because the paper I had just wasn't as long as this. So it's been a lot of fun just kind of making continuous threads. And I really do want to continue doing that in the future. But enough of that, let me tell you the actual information on the sketchbook that is important. So I want to just kind of give a preface that this sketchbook right here is not being used like a sketchbook should be used, and by that I mean that I'm not using it as a place to be messy and learn and just kind of experiment. I'm not making any quote unquote ugly drawings. I kind of went into the sketchbook with the mindset that this sketchbook in itself was going to be a finished piece of art. So if your sketchbook doesn't look super polished and nice, that's okay. I have a quote unquote ugly sketchbook where the drawings and stuff is all over the page. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing at all, but this one right here, I went in with the intent of making her look really nice, very cute, very pretty. So let's kind of get right into the sketchbook tour because this is enough of me yapping. Let me show you the art. That's what you really came here for.
Okay, so now that you guys have a bit of background on this sketchbook, I feel like we could get right into it. Let me fix this light, sorry. It's always overexposed. But yeah, the sketchbook's plain right now. I don't have any stickers on it because I have no stickers that resonate with me in this sketchbook. None of them fit the vibe, so I think I'm at the point where I'm gonna have to just kind of create my own sketchbook. My own sticker and just, I don't know, slap it on there. But this is the first page of the sketchbook, and even though it is the first page, this is not the first page that I drew. It's actually the second page that I worked on. I'd say the first page that I worked on is this. This is where it all started. This is where the ideas in the sketchbook and the themes that would be carried throughout the sketchbook were birthed. I drew this in the summer on a day when I was feeling very, very bad. And I had so much stuff going on in my head, I needed to clear the thoughts out, and I decided the best way to go about it in that moment was to just draw. So I kind of picked up a pencil, sketched this whole drawing out, and then I went in pen and ink. And I went in with pen and ink because I had been feeling very uninspired at the time. I was feeling a bit creatively burnt out, and because I tend to work so much with colorful mediums, I use a lot of acrylic paints, markers, paint markers, which I just tend to make very bright, colorful paintings that I just needed a change of pace really. So I decided the best way to go about it was to just go back to the basics and draw in pen and ink. So that is exactly what I did, and I ended up having so much more fun with it than I ever could have imagined, if you're being completely honest. This sketchbook right here kind of took me out of a creative rut. Just because I had never really drawn with pen and ink before, it's always something that I have found extremely intimidating because I feel like pen just feels so permanent to me. It's just even like growing up throughout like most of I'd say like my elementary and secondary schooling, I was like mortified of working with pen because I couldn't erase it. And so like just working with pen and ink right here was really much going out of my comfort zone. And I'm glad that I did step out of my comfort zone and try something new because I feel like growing a lot artistically. I ended up drawing and thinking in ways that I normally wouldn't have because I feel like working with pen and ink makes you think so much more differently than when you're working with paints, because when you're working with pen and ink, you're only working with like basically black and white, and there's only so much you could do with black and white when it comes to coloring. So you got to get a little more creative when it comes to creating patterns and textures and just finding ways to make the drawing look more visually interesting and appealing because you have such strong and tight constraints when it comes to color. Yeah, this is the first page that just kind of came about, and I ended up drawing things that I feel very comfortable drawing, things that bring me much comfort, which are faces. I drew 2 huge faces on this page because those are the things that make me comfortable when I'm drawing. Honestly, if you're gonna go out of your comfort zone, I was like, you should also like make sure you're doing things that are within your comfort zone. Like don't bite off more than you could chew. Drawing with pen and ink was already pushing it for me, so I knew if I was gonna draw with pen and ink, then I was gonna draw like figures and peoples that I'm already very comfortable drawing, so I didn't feel like I was in over my head. So after I drew this page right here, I went in and drew this page, and I just ended up writing too much on my mind on it because that's honestly how I felt when I was drawing it, and I feel like I kind of carried off this, I guess, theme throughout the rest of the sketchbook. And right here, I ended up drawing a little doodle of me because I was like, why not? This is gonna be like a little, I guess, entryway into my head, I guess, when you look at this artwork right here. I also remember being very impressed with this artwork when I made it just because, I don't know, I really like how it looks. I like how the shapes came out. And I also ended up making a little animation of this, so I was very proud of that. But that's enough of these pages right here. Let's go on to the next few pages. I've mentioned this a few times already, but I did draw this sketchbook. I did work on this sketchbook during like summer. I actually drew this spread right here during the middle of a heat wave. It was so hot. And I feel like this drawing right here is just kind of trying to capture the feeling of that hotness and that summertime air, I guess. And then over here, I just kind of have the nighttime sky and another girl. Honestly, the nighttime sky is going to be popping up a lot in the sketchbook because I feel like that's a pretty like easy element to kind of try and include in this sketchbook considering I'm only working with black and white. You know, it's just something that pops up. Like I have it here again and here in the background too. Stars will also pop up because of the nighttime sky motif I kind of got going on here. And out of all the pages in my sketchbook, this is the one I'm feeling the most iffy about. Not because I don't like it or anything. I actually really do like this page. It's just the page that feels the least finished. I feel like I could still add a bunch more to this drawing right here, but I'm just not sure how to go about it. I don't want to mess up anything. But I know that fear is holding me back, so I just need to get over myself and just, I guess, kind of think on it a little bit longer and just kind of go for it because there's only so much longer I can put off working on this spread right here. I think she's looking pretty cool so far. She just needs a few more finishing details and she will be done. Honestly, that's how I feel about most of the pages right here. It's just a few little like minor cosmetic things that I need to work on, but I'm having decision fatigue, and that is why it's taking me so long to finish all these spreads. This is the next page that I have right here, and now that I'm looking at it, like, it does feel very reminiscent of summer to me. Once again, I feel when I look at this image right here, I think of the colors blue and green, which, I don't know, those colors feel very summery to me. I drew these drawings like back to back essentially. Like, I think I drew most of these drawings within like a 2-3 weeks like time period. So I just had like a very short period of intense creative energy. Like I reached the flow state, guys, and then it was such a flow state that I was starting to question it. Like, I was like, why do I feel so creative all of a sudden? This doesn't usually happen, but that's what happened during this time. I was feeling very creative, so I drew all these summery feeling drawings to me during that time period. And honestly, this drawing right here is when I guess the creative flow started to die down, if you're being completely honest, because I finished drawing this image right here when I was on a trip. I went to Cabo Verde over the summer to visit my family, and I think that trip kind of, I guess, disrupted the current like habit and like routines I had in place for creating. And ever since I came back from that trip, I've just kind of been trying to get back onto that creative energy cycle. But that's okay, because this sketchbook right here was kind of, I guess, the catalyst for all the stuff that I've kind of been working on recently, so I'm not complaining too much. I may not feel as much creative spark as I did back then, but I am creating more consistently, and that is all I can really ask for, because I feel like creating consistently is like half the battle when it comes to making art. But yeah, I drew this page, and I have really fond memories of this spread right here because I drew it when I was on a trip, and my little cousin was there with me, and she was just like very impressed by my drawing skills, and I was extremely flattered. So like, she basically watched me draw this whole spread right here. I was also surrounded by family when I was working on the spreads, because I would just kind of take this notebook with me whenever I went out, because when I left the house, my family, they just talk so much. Like, I know when I go somewhere, they're just going to be talking, and I'm going to get bored at some point. So the second I get bored, I whip this out, and I would work on it. I just have fond memories. Like, when I look at this drawing right here, I feel warm weather. I hear people talking. I think of, like, the ocean and, like, the sea breeze and my family. So, yeah. That's a very, like, sappy backstory on this drawing right here. And our last spread that we have right here, our last little drawing thing, is this girl looking at a house. And this drawing I drew when I came back from my trip. It took me a very long time to come to sketch this, and honestly, it looks decent right now. I still feel like it could use a little, more pizzazz on it. I could definitely make it look a bit more interesting. It's just that I'm still not sure the best way to go about coloring in the final details for it. So right now, this is how it's going to be. This is pretty much all the spreads I have for now. This is like pretty much exactly the halfway mark of this sketchbook, and I don't really have much to say other than I've made a decent amount of I've made a decent amount of progress, even though it doesn't really feel like that. I know that when I actually like extend this entire sketchbook, it's gonna look like a lot of drawings. Like, I don't feel like I made a lot of drawings, but when I put it out on the floor, it's gonna look like a lot of drawings. This is essentially my last 6 months of creations, or at least one of the projects that I've been working on.
So yeah, if you got to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope you had fun looking at my drawings, and that you maybe feel a little bit more inspired and like motivated to create art now that you've seen this, because honestly, that's all I ever want to do when I share my art, is just make others feel, inspired to draw and create. But if you got to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it once again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!